Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that dominates in today's edition for Tuesday, 2nd September 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Jamaica's general elections carded for Wednesday, 3rd September take center stage today, while Guyana's general and regional elections concluded on Monday. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. Both Guyana and Jamaica hold elections a mere couple days apart, with the only English-speaking South American nation having held theirs on Monday, yesterday, while Jamaica holds theirs on Wednesday, tomorrow. In the case of Jamaica's, a Gleaner columnist who is also a medical practitioner in Jamaica chimes in on his take on the proceedings in Jamaica. In the meantime, let's take in that TVJ exchange with Dr. Michael Abrams.
Michael Abrams, medical practitioner, Gleaner columnist. You've been watching the debates. What comes to mind? What stuck?
Probably the last debate where the Prime Minister and the opposition leader went head to head.
Are you truly a Jamaican?
For me, probably it was Mark Golding just pulling out his birth certificate, like pulling out a rabbit out of a hat. I think that was unexpected.
Here is my birth certificate.
Debating is an art, really, you know. And you could, for example, he answered the questions in a timely fashion. He was concise. He didn't run over, didn't finish too quickly. He maintained his composure. There were times when each gentleman called out the other successfully. But I think overall, he probably got the better of the Prime Minister.
Andrew Onus is being disingenuous and tricky. The leader of the opposition is telling lies.
Who or what is the JLP's weakest link and the PNP's weakest link?
I think the JLP's weakest link is integrity, transparency and accountability. With the opposition, a lack of consistency and staying on message.
Two narratives on repeat. The PNP have a dismal track record and they're going to raise taxes. Then there's the Prime Minister's personal finances. And the third term is just going to be a free-for-all. Do people care about corruption if they get performance in return? Or are corruption and performance mutually exclusive?
I mean, anecdotally, many people seem to take it as a given that both sides are corrupt. For many people, it doesn't really matter. For some of us, it does, especially those of us who have been paying attention. There's been a chronological sequence of events that's a bit disturbing regarding our checks and balances when it comes to accountability and transparency.
Does this election campaign feel different from the last one? Is there more of a buzz about voting this time?
It's definitely different from the last one, I can tell you that. Because the last election, the JLP won by a landslide. The PNP was in disarray. It's much closer now.
You're a medical practitioner. Are your patients sharing about politics during visits?
Well, my job affords me the opportunity to discuss, political matters with a wide cross-section of people. And what I've found is that many Jamaicans, many of my patients, are not interested in voting. Many of them have never voted. Many of them have no intention of voting. And I'm a strong advocate for voting. Very. And many people will say the reason why they don't vote is because they genuinely do not see a difference. 6 or 1 half dozen of the other, no better herring, no better barrel. And they don't understand that every vote counts. And what I tell them is, listen, man, when you don't vote, the people who don't have a clue are the ones who vote. Yeah, being an obstetrician and gynecologist, one of the major issues for me is the maternal mortality rate. Right now, our maternal mortality rate is higher than it was in the 90s. A pregnant woman today is more likely to die than in the 90s. Before COVID, it went all the way up to 160 odd. It's 133 now. A country's maternal mortality rate is one of the indicators of how robust the country's health sector is. So when you have a high maternal mortality rate, it doesn't look good for the health sector.
You had money in SSL, and you were able to withdraw your money before it collapsed. In fact, I would say the only person that Usain Bolt has not been able to catch up with is you.
This thing with the debate, I noticed mention of SSL and the Prime Minister getting back his money. Apparently, Usain Bolt hasn't gotten back his money. You think that's going to stick in some people's mind?
You get all of your stuff back, and many people are still hurting. We talk about Usain Bolt a lot, but there are other folks who were not as wealthy as him, who lost a lot of money.
FinSAC took out a lot of people back in the day. There are a lot of people who had expensive loans, but there are a lot of people who benefited from the collapse in the financial system at the time.
Apparently that has affected persons on both sides of the divide, because apparently Mark Golding and Peter Bunting did benefit. And there are allegations that Mr. Holness may have benefited from buying a house that was so-called FinSAC. He denies it, but it is true that many people did suffer, many people did benefit.
You make it sound like politicians have a pretty bad track record in Jamaica.
Of course they do. I did not grow up in a politically tribal household, so I voted on both sides. It's a pattern. I vote for you, you win, and then I get upset. So I voted for Andrew Holness the last election. I make it definitely. I was impressed, because he had promised us the impeachment bill, and he ran on this thing about integrity and accountability. But I must say I am disappointed.
So if you're prepared to tell me who you voted for last time, who are you voting for this time?
I'm very uncomfortable with the trajectory that the country is on in terms of integrity. But at the same time, I can't say I'm fully confident that if the other party comes in, they will hold the reins of power responsibly. It's very difficult. It really is.
As soon as we are able to get any confirmation on the outcome of the Guyana elections, we are likely to deliver a supplementary broadcast on its outcome during the course of the day.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick,
in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Tensions between the United States and Venezuela are escalating as a significant U.S. naval buildup unfolds in the southern Caribbean and surrounding waters, with American officials saying it is intended to counter threats from Latin American drug cartels. Peter O'Brien of France 24 English tells us more.
Volunteers as old as 75 turned up to enlist, even those with trouble hearing. That shows the level of some Venezuelans' enthusiasm to join the militia in response to an American military buildup off the country's shores.
We have to take any enemy seriously. We cannot dismiss any threat they may come up with.
We have to defend the homeland. Despite my age, I'm ready, because we can serve in many ways.
The United States is reinforcing its deployment of warships in the southern Caribbean. A number of guided missile destroyers have been sighted there, and the AP news agency reports that 3 amphibious assault ships with more than 4,000 personnel could be joining them next week. The US says it's using the force to crack down on drug smuggling cartels. Washington accuses Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro of running one such gang, and Maduro is stoking speculation that they will invade, though the US has not officially threatened to do so. Amid the tension, and in their own attempt to tackle the cartels, Venezuela and Colombia have sent tens of thousands of troops to their shared border.
I've spoken to the army. They told me it's to protect the Colombian side in case there is any dispute in Venezuela.
Venezuelan President Maduro claims to be activating 4.5 million militia volunteers, a number widely considered an exaggeration.
Did you know that women make up 27% of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service? 2,136 women are currently serving in every rank and division within the force. Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara emphasized that the goal to serve knows no gender, and that women continue to make the TTPS stronger, resilient and smarter. Faith Chariot of TTT News tells us more.
Female leadership was highlighted on the 70th anniversary of Police Women. Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara noted the significant contribution of women in the current state of emergency operations.
Women officers have been at the forefront of all of these operations. They're leading raids, they're managing intelligence, fusion centers, and coordinating international and interagency responses. So let the results speak for themselves, Trinidad and Tobago. Right now, despite the naysayers, 41% reduction in murders as compared to 2024. Women, are you clap for that?
This year's anniversary marks a moment of rededication to the service, according to the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Suzette Martin.
As we launch these 70th anniversary celebrations, we recommit ourselves to excellence, integrity, and innovation in policing. We looked to the future with hope, knowing that the women and men of the TTPS will continue to shape a service that is professional, compassionate, and responsive to the needs of the people we serve.
Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander highlighted the struggles faced by women in the service.
However, that did not daunt you. You kept pushing and pushing and pushing until you reached the top. Now most of you are standing at the top. Remember where you came from. Remember the struggles that you had. Don't put those same struggles on your juniors.
He urged them to never forget these struggles. Rather, use them to nurture the juniors following their footsteps. Celebrating the legacy and contribution of police women, Commissioner Guevara encouraged the service women to continue shaping the future and extending their legacy.
To every woman in uniform here today, and those who hold in the fort in the stations while we are able here to do so, I want to say you are not just part of history, but you are shaping our future. Long live the TTPS. Long live the legacy of women in the TTPS and in law enforcement. And may Trinidad and Tobago continue to grow safer under your watch.
Faith Chariot, TTT News.
The state of Antigua and Barbuda is reaffirming its mantra of being a friend to all and an enemy of none as tensions mount between Venezuela and the United States. ABS's Alicia George reports.
The United States has stepped up its presence in the southern Caribbean, deploying at least 7 naval vessels near Venezuela. Washington says the operation is aimed at drug cartels and has accused President Nicolas Maduro of leading the so-called Cartel de los Soles. But government officials here say Antigua and Barbuda will not take sides in the U.S.-Venezuela standoff.
Antigua and Barbuda's foreign policy is that Antigua and Barbuda does not take sides in any of these matters involving states. Antigua and Barbuda is a friend of all, an enemy of none.
According to Director General of Communications in the Prime Minister's office, Maurice Merchant, Prime Minister Gaston Brown maintains strong ties with both Washington and Caracas and has even offered to act as a mediator.
He has an excellent relationship with the United States administration. He has an excellent relationship with the Venezuelan administration. And a few weeks ago, you would have heard the Prime Minister offered to be the broker of certain discussions between not only the United States and Venezuela, but the United States and the People's Republic of China in some of their disputes.
Still, some CARICOM partners are striking a different tone. In Trinidad and Tobago, Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has publicly backed the U.S. naval buildup, calling it a necessary step against drug cartels, and even suggesting Port of Spain could provide access to American forces. But Antigua and Barbuda's government insists neutrality is the wiser course.
Choosing sides in disputes only exacerbates the problem, and that's Antigua and Barbuda's position diplomatically, that there is always the need for someone to say, peace, let us approach peace.
Prime Minister Gaston Brown is engaged in ongoing talks behind the scenes with CARICOM colleagues as regional governments keep watch on how the standoff may affect some of its initiatives, like the social programs. Elisha George for ABS News.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.